In a world where we believe we hold dominion over everything through the screens in our hands, have you ever stopped to consider what lies beyond our control? We capture moments, we share memories, believing we are safe. But what if I told you that a single glance at the wrong image could trigger a force of nature that cannot be stopped, negotiated with, or escaped? Let me introduce you to the entity known as SCP-096. To the naked eye, it appears pathetic, a malnourished, pale humanoid sitting in the dark, sobbing uncontrollably. It looks weak, it looks broken, but this misery is a trap. The rules of its existence are absolute. If you see its face, whether directly, on a live video feed, or even in a damaged, grainy photograph, the crying stops. The screaming begins. From that moment, you are no longer a person. You are a target. Distance is irrelevant. SCP-096 will cross oceans, shatter steel bunkers, and tear through mountains to reach the observer. It does not eat, it does not sleep, and it does not stop until the one who saw it is gone. This brings us to the infamous 4 Pixels incident. The victim was a man named Arthur, an ordinary archivist with a passion for vintage photography. One afternoon, Arthur was reviewing old photos from a hiking expedition in the snowy Himalayas. It was a beautiful, serene landscape. Arthur noticed a tiny, off-color patch of snow in the background. Curious, he leaned in. He squinted at a microscopic detail barely 4 pixels wide in the corner of the frame. It looked like a trick of the light or perhaps a speck of dust. But those 4 pixels were not dust. They were the face of SCP-096 captured miles away by the camera lens. Arthur had no idea what he had done. He put the photo away and went to make coffee. But thousands of miles away, deep in a high-security containment cell, the creature suddenly stood up. The sensor screamed. The walls, designed to withstand tank fire, were ripped apart like wet paper. SCP-096 began to run. It moved at speeds that defied physics. It swam across the ocean floor, crushing under the pressure that would kill a human instantly, but it kept moving. Its screams were heard by sonar operators, a terrifying shriek of pure rage cutting through the deep water. It was coming for Arthur. Arthur was sitting in his living room when the ground began to shake. He heard a sound that didn't belong in a quiet suburb, a wailing scream, rapidly getting louder, approaching with the force of a freight train. He didn't even have time to understand why. The front of his house exploded inward. The last thing Arthur saw was the pale, nightmare figure lunging at him, punishing him for a crime he didn't even know he committed, all because of 4 tiny pixels. The Foundation eventually secured the photo. They burned it. They wiped the records. But here is the thought that should keep you awake tonight. We live in the digital age. Arthur saw a physical photo, but today, billions of images are uploaded to the cloud, shared on social media, and stored on servers every single day. Automated bots crawl the internet, copying and archiving everything. How do you know that the background of that selfie you just liked doesn't contain a tiny, blurry figure in the distance? How do you know that the landscape wallpaper on your phone doesn't hide a 4-pixel speck of death? You might look at it every day, never noticing it, until one day, you decide to zoom in. And when you do, if you hear screaming in the distance, don't bother running. It's already too late.